Professor and Chairman of the University of Melbourne Department of Medicine until 1999. He was Director of St Vincent's Institute of Medical Research 1988 to 2002, and his research has been in how the cells of bone work to form and maintain a healthy skeleton and how hormones influence bone and calcium metabolism. He has a very special interest in the causes and treatment of osteoporosis and what it is about the skeleton that makes breast and prostate as well as some blood cancers spread there and grow. He is a prolific author and writer. He has published more than 500 scientific articles, 175 reviews and chapters, and has edited 6 books. A Fellow of the Royal Society in London and of the Australian Academy of Science, he is an Officer of the Order of Australia, and in addition has received numerous other prestigious international and national awards. He was Victoria's Senior Australian for the year last year, 2013. As one of Yea's growth industry seems to be old age, Jack Martin is the most suitable Australia Day Ambassador to Yea. Please welcome Jack Martin.
David, for that very generous introduction. I certainly qualify on the grounds of age. You know, I spend a lot of time down at Point Lonsdale, where one of the dangers is of being knocked down by motorised wheelchairs. It's like we used to say about places like Bournemouth in England. Well, David and Councillor John Kennedy and Glenda Woods, President of Rotary, ladies and gentlemen of Yea and Murrumbidgee Shire, it's a great pleasure for me to be here today to join with you to celebrate Australia Day. Australia Day is a day when Australia Day is a day when we have our many cultures joined together in a big, noisy and robust family. And we have very much to share. I'd like to join with David in acknowledging and paying my respect to the Tuggeranong people, who are the custodians and owners of this beautiful part of this beautiful area of central Victoria that you all love so well. And on the way up this morning, I'm so old I couldn't drive. I had my son Hugh, who's here, drive me up. I was remembering many years ago, we used to come up here a lot. I haven't been up here for more than 30 years, but we used to come up to the Haukwa and fish and camp, and grew to love the place very much. And I was remembering that as we came up through the beautiful country on the road up to Yea this morning. In fact, grew to love it so much that when we lived in England for 4 years in the 1970s, one of the things that I missed certainly was the country, and the country around up here, because I guess I'd spent more time up around here than I had anywhere else in the countryside. And missing the sky, the southern starred sky at night. And on the few occasions when we could see the stars at night when we lived in Sheffield, in Yorkshire, it wasn't the same stars that we could see here, which meant so much. Now, what today, David mentioned the Ambassador Program. What is the Ambassador Program? Well, I'm just one of 135 Australia Day ambassadors who are joining in these celebrations all around Victoria. And you might well ask, and someone did ask me, how do you become an ambassador? Well, I was picked out because, yes, last year I was made Senior Australian of the Year for Victoria. So that tells you that I'm old, which goes without saying further. And I was made Australia Day Senior Australian of the Year because of they make you Australian of the Year or Senior Australian of the Year for things that you've done. And I guess my life was actually summarised beautifully by David Anderson. I couldn't have had one of our students do a better summary. Actually, I've spent my life, you might think working on bone, that must be incredibly boring. Well, it's not been. It's been incredibly interesting. It's been enough to keep me interested in it for nearly 50 years, studying how the cells of bone communicate with each other and make sure that you can sit there with a good, strong skeleton, and how, when things go wrong, you can lose bone and develop osteoporosis and be susceptible to fracturing bones. And I had a particular interest in how certain cancers spread to bone, particularly breast and prostate cancer. And I guess one of the other things about why I was made that Senior Australian Year was, over the years I've been able to train lots of young people who've contributed so much to any work that we might have done, and who've themselves gone off to develop their own careers and make big contributions to the community. And through all that time, one of the things that I've done and have been able to do and enjoyed is travel a lot to meetings overseas, internationally, and always I was obviously Australian, very obviously Australian, and proud to be Australian, and in many ways was representing Australia at those meetings, just like maybe international athletes would do, and I would have loved, in fact, possibly even preferred to be an international athlete, but you do what you can. Now, throughout all this, anything that you do along those lines is tremendously dependent on others, those that work with you, and those that help in many, many ways, often in a voluntary way. And that's a great feature of Australian life, the volunteer spirit. And you know it in so many ways. This might be the coaching of young people in sport, the sort of help that we've had over years from volunteers in doing medical research, the sort of help that you see featured here today of the Rotary Club, the Rotary Clubs throughout Australia, and the Rotary Club here turning on this lovely breakfast and accompanying events today. And thank you, Glenda, for all the help of your Rotary Club for that. But especially too exemplified by the volunteer fire brigades, and above all, and you in the Murrumbidgee Shire suffered so much in recent years especially, but your wonderful community spirit has led you to your great recovery. I also had a great example of volunteers helping us in the years that I was actually Professor of Medicine at the Repatriation General Hospital in Heidelberg for about 15 years. And that was a place that's very special to me, because there I was able to look after and get to know veterans of both the First and the Second World War. I was there, I worked there from 1970 to 1988, with an interruption of 4 or 5 years in England in the middle of it. But that was a time when we still had a lot of First World War veterans around. There are of course none now, but it was impossible to work there without getting to know those people, those veterans of both wars, and getting to know their stories and know what they did for us, for this country. And it was impossible not to be greatly moved by that. Now, Yea is now more than 150 years, as you know, since Yea was founded in this beautiful part of central Victoria. It was a beautiful country then, and that was why it was chosen for settlement. And it's a beautiful country now, with so much that you can use and do use to attract people to come here. And I've been hearing this morning, I was amazed actually. We decided that we'd like to stay here last night, but I started trying to find a room about 3 weeks ago, and there was no room at the inn, no room at this inn, no room at that inn. And I found out when I got up here that this is a pretty big weekend in Yea, and you obviously making the most of this wonderful area you live in, this wonderful town you have, and you have much to be proud of on this Australia Day 2014, and I'm especially privileged to be able to be here and join you in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jack, for your address this morning and your